Alright, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the B-25G, and it has a few different things from the B-25 production model. First off, when they made the B-25 production model, it had a straight wing. They modified it because I guess it was a problem with stability, and they added the gull wing design. So if I come up here and look straight at the plane, you'll see that nice gull wing design. And then the bombarder position on some of, not all of the B-25s, but some of them did away with them and added the strafing nose. So we have the guns and no glass, and then what they also added was a top turret right there that is towards the back. On the J model, that top turret is towards the front, but this is the older version, so let's take a look inside and see what else we have. Alright, so inside we've added a observation window. I think later that's where the top turret actually is moved to. And then we have the navigation, we have the bombs, we have the radio room, we have the back turret, and because this plane had the top turret and I wanted to have somebody in there to look around, I've added a little AI guy. And the reason I had to do that so you can't get in it yourself is because the plane is so thin that in order to make it so you could fit in there, it would have to be a wider plane. So I left this thin. But the B-17 that I'm working on allows you to go in the top turret, bomb turret, but I'm sacrificing the slimness of the plane to do that. So it was a trade-off on the B-17. But for this plane, I thought it was more important just to have it sleek. So let's get this thing up in the air. One thing you'll notice about this plane is the historical plane had a 3-bladed prop. This one, in order to fly right now with all the patches that are going on with Stormworks, has a 4-bladed prop. So I will swap out the props when I can, but for right now it's using the 4-blade. Alright, let's get the engine started. And we'll just roll out here. This plane uses the braking on the number 5 and 6 on the keyboard to turn. The real plane used the brakes as well. So if you look, it's these wheels down here that are used to turn the plane. Alright, let's get over to the runway and see if this thing flies properly with the 4 blades. I just changed it because there was an issue. So let's try it. Add a little more power and turn. The brakes are a little weird since the latest patches. They don't turn the aircraft quite as well as they used to. Like there's no friction on the ground. I don't know. Alright, so here we go. You can hear I'm already revved up. Alright, so I'm max on throttle right now. And let's see what it does. Okay, see? With the new patch, it has this very floaty kind of physics going on. And see, now I'm starting to slow down. It's a little weird, but it does fly, and I really wanted to start releasing the plane, so even though it's a little weird right now, I'm going to go ahead and release this plane, and as things get updated with the game, I'll tweak things. Alright, so I probably need... Oops, not that. I probably need to adjust the trim, and 0.15 usually works pretty well. Alright, so the other features of this plane, of course, are the bombs, which still drop, surprisingly. Thought they would start floating up in the air with all the patches. Okay. Alright, so we have the bomb bay open, and we'll just drop them, and there they go. Now these bombs flew straight down. Now, on the last video I dropped the bombs, and they kind of were going different directions, so it's kind of interesting how the physics change. Alright, let's shut that off. Let's pull our gear up. Oh, there it goes. Pull the gear up. Okay, another sacrifice I had to do on the B-25, which I didn't mention in the last video, is the landing gear actually go up incorrectly. So in order for the landing gear to hold the plane up, I had to swap the landing gear from going backwards upwards to going forwards upwards. And that's because the rotors were making the plane fall on the ground when you would move forward. It couldn't take the strain of the engines pulling the plane forward, so the landing gear would collapse. So in order just to have the plane fly correctly, actually, where's my front landing gear? I swapped the landing gear around. So you can see the landing gear go up again, forwards. Alright. And I do not know what happened with this guy. We'll take a look at that before we upload. Alright, so, oh, I forgot one thing. Let's let Albert go on patrol. Alright. There he goes. And he is on patrol looking for the fighters. Alright, so that's it for the arcade mode. I'm going to go ahead and swap this out. Alright, we have the advanced B-25G out. And you'll notice this one has some cool exhaust pipes, which are really working. We have the radiator on the bottom. If we take a look inside the engine, it's a little dark. Let's swap this out for daytime. Alright, we have all the nice pipes. They added a new feature where you can hover over the engine and you can see what's missing. So right now the electric is off, so it is red, so the engines aren't going to start. Alright, but note that with all the planes right now, the batteries are just sucking juice while it's sitting here because the rotors for the landing gear are sucking juice while they're just sitting here. And they will not work without electricity, they'll just collapse. So when you spawn this plane, you have a certain amount of limited time before you get it started and get in the air without things starting to collapse. Alright, so let's go ahead and get inside the advanced plane. And right off, what you will see is I've added a lot of gauges on the side here. So it's, oh, we're missing a button here. Okay, so that is something I accidentally deleted when I was putting this here. I will add that before I upload this, the button to close the door, so I'll add that back. But we have a lot going on here. We have the engine RPS, which is actually RPMs. I got to change those, so I will update those as well. Oh boy. I believe none of this works right now. So I'm not hooking up the lights because they drain the batteries, but everything else is pretty much working, I think. So here we go. We have the batteries draining, all three. We have the fuel tanks, 1 and 2, custom, so they just report a 100% to 0. So right now it's at 99%. We have the circuit breakers, and we have the engine temperature here. Alright, so swap on your circuit breakers. Jump into this. And you'll notice the throttles are back here, but if you look on my left side, you'll see that you can use number 1 to do the engine's throttle upwards on both 1 and 2 engines, and number 2 to lower both of them. There's just no room to put the throttles in a reachable area here. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and start the engines. And again, these are set to 0.15, which is where the engine starts, so you don't have to do anything. Just click the buttons, and you'll have it started. Unless you waited too long for the battery to go dead, and then it won't start. Alright, so I added a button to close the hatch here, and what we're going to do is we're not going to mess around. We're going to get this thing in the air before the battery goes dead. Alright, so it needs power. Alright, here we go again. Let's get into the plane. I think it's all working now. And get the engine started before, again, the power goes out. So, shut please. Thank you. Alright. So, circuit breakers on, into the pilot seat. Start engine 1, start engine 2. They are started. Alright, I'm going to turn off these circuit breakers. With my testing, the engines, are they both running? They're both running. The engines will charge the battery up to 89% on all of them, but that is it. So, don't know. what to do yet about that, so we're going to leave it as is and just get this thing in the air. Alright, sit down in the seat. I'm going to use my number 1 key to get it moving. And again, this is using the 3-blade prop versus the arcade mode, which had to use a 4-blade prop to get off the ground. So I think this plane can get off the ground in advanced mode with the historic 3-blade prop. Let's find out. Alright, so I'm just taxiing using what? About... Oops. Yeah. Using just my number 1 key and my brakes. And you'll see it's kind of slow going. So the problem I had earlier, and I don't know if I fixed the issue or not, is that when... Uh-oh. Hit the wrong button. Hit the wrong button again. Okay, sorry, my fingers are all over the place here. Okay, when I full throttled these engines, only one engine would speed up. But I don't know if that's fixed. Alright, let's try taking off. Alright, running up the engines, using the brakes to kind of stay on the runway. Looking good. It's going up. Let's adjust the trim because we know it's going to be about a 15. There we go. Alright. It's up. Alright, let's take a look at the engines on the outside. So they both look like they're going about the same speed, which is good. Okay. Okay, apparently this plane likes to dive now. So let's see what it's... Is it a 10? About a 9. Okay, so if you're flying this plane, it's about a 9 on the trim. And let's make sure that the landing gear work on this one. Okay, landing gear up. Closing the gear doors. Everything's good. Alright. And then, of course, let's just test the bomb bays. Oh, no. And see, here we're hooking up the buttons to this one battery. I do have a battery in each wing for each engine, but this one I'm using pretty much to power all the control surfaces and everything. And I don't know. I don't know if this is the correct way, but that's kind of what's working right now. So we'll do that. Alright, let's save. Alright, so this is going to be a really cheap test before I upload this vehicle, and we're just going to go ahead and test them on the ground. Don't worry, they don't blow up. We're good to go. Alright, landing gear up, or landing gear up. Bomb bay doors open. Alright, let's just release them. Alright, there you go. So this plane is up on the workshop if you're watching this video. The links are in the description below. And this is the B-25G. I'll also be releasing the B-25J. And I think I also have a Marine version, PBJ, B-25. And they're all slightly different with the design of how many guns they put on there, if they have the bombing bombarder section here. So those will be up. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for downloading the planes. Thanks for following. And I'll see you on the next video.